Recording in progress.
Network. Yes, today we will be taking a OET within Part C revision based on requests from some of our candidates. And it's going to be an interesting one for those that don't know about OET. So OET is an English language proficiency test type that is being done, by immigrants, international students, or nurses, doctors, pharmacists, dentists, what have you, that have the intention of traveling out or to study or to work in English language speaking countries. So if you are preparing for OET or you have tried IELTS several times without passing, OET could be your go-to. So at Synergy International Network, we have our OET study buddy package, which we have the VIP and the standard program. So here we will, a study buddy will hold your hands as you prepare for your OET. We also have the IELTS study buddy program as well. But today, my name is Olayinka Aremu, and I am your study buddy. I'm going to be revising the OET within Part C, like I said, based on requests from our candidates. So join me as we go. If you have any question, don't hesitate to drop it at the comment section. You have anything you want to share, please do. Before we go to proper revision, I'm just going to go through the bit and bits.
Take a look at this example. The following list gives examples of vocabulary questions. You can have it like the writer used the phrase cut corners to reinforce the idea that see the underlined words and in bold cut corners. In the final paragraph, the writer used the phrase in the loop to underline. So this is trying to tell you what does in the loop means in the text. And the third one says what is suggested about the attitude towards the trial by the use of the phrase on the fence. So meaning what does on the fence means in the context of the test. You find the answer right in the test. The third question pattern is a reference question. The reference question will ask you to decide what the word or phrase underlined and in bold in the question and in the test relate to. To answer these questions, you might need to be able to keep track of what is being discussed in the long sections of text with complex sentences. You should expect to answer one reference question in each passage in Part C. So take note again what the word or phrase underlined and in bold in the question and in the text relates to. Let's look at this example. The following list gives example of reference question. You might find it like this. In the second paragraph, what does the word it refer to? What does the word they refer to? The phrase because of this refers to. So these informations can be gotten from the text. You just need to look around at the supporting words and information around those keywords and you'll be able to find the answer. There are key things to note for Part C. Part C of the reading test is designed to evaluate your ability to quickly read and understand English text in a healthcare setting. So make reading healthcare tests in English an habit for you to prepare yourself for the test. On the test days, take a deep breath, read each section carefully, select an answer, then move on to the next question. You do not have to waste time. If you can't find the answer, move on to the next question and you can come back. Now let me share with you the strategies you need to know to pass OET reading Part C. Like every other test, know the instruction. You should make sure you're familiar with what you will be asked to do before you take the test. The instruction for Part C of the reading test will look like this. In this part of the test, there are two tests about different aspects of healthcare. For questions 7 to 22, choose the answer A, B, C, or D, which you think fits best according to the test. Write your answers on the separate answer sheets. So that's how the instruction looks like. So make yourself familiar with this so you can be faster on the test day. Another strategy is format. In each question, you are referred to a discrete part of the test and the question appears in the order of the information in the test. You need to answer 8 questions on each of the 2 tests. The questions will direct you to the part of the test which the question refers, so you don't need to skim the entire test to find the information. That's interesting. In addition, once you have answered a question about one part of the test, you only need to look at the information that follows for the remaining questions. You will not need to look at the previous information. So, in essence, the questions comes in a discrete section and it comes consecutively like that. You need to answer the 8 questions and then you move to the next one and then you move to the next one. There's no need to skim the entire text to find the information. One strategy that also works is you looking at the test. The first thing you should do when tackling a Part C test is to quickly look through the test to understand how the test is organized and what it's about. This is quite different from what you do in the other parts, where you have to go to the question first. For the Part C, it is important that you look through the test first. As you skim through the test, you might find it helpful to make a brief note about the main idea or topic of each paragraph to help you to remember what the test discusses. Don't worry about understanding the test in detail at this point. Just give yourself a general sense of the test. When it comes to the answer, the question will guide you through the test. And that's all about OET within PRACTIVE.
All right, so that's just a brief introduction, just to give you a heads up about what the OET reading Part C is all about. So now we're going to start a practice. I'm going to pick a question from our question bank, and we will see how we can tackle this. So just a second there, you can take a break, go get a cup of tea while I get this rolling. Okay, you're welcome back. So I have here a OET reading homework. So we have this book, kind of puts questions all together for our candidates. So we're going to be revising this. I'll just go and look for a particular paper that, let's check out one of the papers here, and we go straight to the Part C. Now, if you need help with how to, pass Part A and Part B as well, you could make a special request, or you could join our study buddy program. You can enroll, go to our website, www.synergynows.co.uk, and you can enroll in either the standard or the VIP package. Now, I'll be here shortly. Okay, I think we can use this next one. If you have any question, please keep it coming and we will take that afterwards. Is that okay? So we're looking for the long test, reading Part C. Okay, this is the Part C. So from the explanation we got initially there, remember that you have two long passages, right? Two long passages for parts, for the Part C. First, it comes in this part of the test, there are two tests about different aspects of healthcare. For question 7 to 22, choose the answer A, B, C, or D. So if you look at this now, the test one says why getting motivated is hard. So what you have to do, remember, what should you do first? There are two strategies that put. You can use the QAT or you can use the QTA. Read the question, go to the test. I kind of prefer the QTA. Read the question, go to the test, and then get the answer. All right, so let's go to the question first. Remember, the title is talking about how to get motivated. So question 7 to 14, what do we learn in the first paragraph? So remember, like we shared earlier, Part C will always direct you to where to go. So it's not so ambiguous. It's going to direct you to where to go to get the answer. So we have here, what do we learn in the first paragraph? So look at the options. Option A, failure to lose weight is mostly due to lack of motivation. B, too much care may hinder the ability. C, acting on your goals. Even if you work hard, you may not achieve your goal. So that's the option there. Let's go to second. Number 8, it says, in the second paragraph, the writer uses Fiona Comfort's word. So what I do advise is always underline keywords from the question as you go to the question. What do we learn in the first paragraph? So it's asking you what's the main learning. So I will underline learn, and it's the first paragraph. So in the second paragraph, it says, in the second paragraph, the writer uses Fiona Comfort's word to underline Fiona Comfort's word so that when you go to the test, you will be on the lookout for what Fiona said. And here he said, the writer uses Fiona Comfort's word to, that means, so it is important that you are able, when you read the question, interpret the question and ask yourself the question. So the writer uses Fiona Comfort's word to, so that means, what does the writer means by using Fiona Comfort's word? Or other way you can say, what does Fiona Comfort's word mean in this paragraph? So that's what you want to look out for. Does it mean, does it illustrate the routine reward system loop? Is it talking about how to outline the role of dopamine in the brain? Comfort's word, does it mean, is it talking about to prove that chemical transmitters in the brain are the ones responsible for motivation? Or is it referring to inform us that dopamine level is affected by your degree of motivation? So take note of that, Fiona's word. All right, so we're reading the question, going back to the test. So make sure you are doing this one after the other. So question 7, you have read it, then go back to the test. So let's go back to first paragraph to get the answer for question 7. First paragraph in test 1. Remember, we're talking about motivation. All right, I'll give you 1 minute there to read through it. Remember, you can read through it. So why getting motivated is hard? As a trainer, I consider it a personal failure if I'm unable to motivate a client to make important health and lifestyle change. Sure, there are people who just do not care, but I can spot them from 100 meters away. I am not talking about them. I'm referring to the clients who really want to lose weight, actually do care, but it just does not happen. They struggle to muster even have the motivation required to do the work, self-sabotage, and eventually feel so defeated that they quit. It hurts to watch. On the flip side, it's up to watch. On the flip side, other clients get in and get the job done. Their sights are set and they just plow ahead until mission accomplished. By this point, exercise and eating healthily are non-negotiable parts of their lifestyle, who they have become. So now, what does the question say? The question says, what do we learn in the first paragraph? What do we learn in the first paragraph? You know the answer, you can deduce it as you watch. Drop it in the comment section. I'll wait till we get the answer. I'm going to ask if you're coming in to the Zoom section, mute yourself, please. So we are revising OET within part C, and we are just started. So we are using our own workbook, and we are talking about motivation. This is the test 1. The question is, what does the paragraph 1. What is paragraph 1 talking about? What do we learn in the first paragraph? So if you look at this paragraph, it's talking about a trainer. It's talking about lifestyle changes and why he feels he feels like a personal failure if he's unable to motivate a client. Look at the options. So if you look at the options, this will help you. Failure to lose weight is mostly due to lack of motivation. So what I do is we always have try to right or wrong an option. So is option A right? Read it and try to digest it. Failure to lose weight is mostly due to lack of motivation. Was the writer saying that people fail to lose weight because they are not motivated? So let's go to the paragraph. Because this is a booklet, you have to be going up and down, or if it's in the exam, you will have the different sheets. Where did I find motivation? There are 2 places I find motivation in the test. Motivate. So I consider a personal failure if I'm unable to motivate. So that's not what the question is. They struggle to muster even after the motivation required to do the work. So if we look at it, it's not like they are not getting motivation. So they are getting motivation. So option A will be wrong. Okay, option A will be wrong because it's a failure to lose weight is mostly due to lack of motivation. So they are getting motivation, but only that they are not able to muster it. Now, option B, too much care may hinder the ability to lose weight. Too much care may hinder the ability to lose weight. So if you care too much about your client, will they lose weight? You see, what I'm trying to do is I read the option, I try to interpret it, I try to simplify it for myself. So I go back to the test. So care, remember, too much care. So let's look at where he was talking about care. So that's the second line. Sure, there are people who just do not care, but I can spot them from 100 meters apart away. I'm not talking about them. I'm referring to the clients who really want to lose weight. They actually do care, but it just does not happen. So it's not like too much care. So they care, but it does not happen. Losing weight does not happen. So the option says too much care. So which means that it is wrong. So too much care does not hinder the ability to lose weight. They do care, but it does not just happen. Can we understand? So B is wrong. Option C, acting on your goals is the way to achieve them. I'll take option D as well. Even if you work hard, you may not achieve your goals for different reasons. So you can see that option C and D looks like opposites. It's contradicting. So acting on your goals is the way to achieve them. That means acting on your goal is the way to achieve weight loss. D is saying even if you work hard, you may not achieve your goals for different reasons. So let's go back to the test. Remember, what we're trying to do is to try to see how we can make this simple, how we can break it down. So it is not timing at this time will be wrong. So you can't time. I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to break down how PRACTIVE can work. So let's look at it. They struggle to muster even have the motivation required to do the work, self-sabotage, and eventually feel so defeated that they quit. Out to watch. On the flip side, other side gets in and get the job done. Their sights are set and they just plow ahead until mission accomplished. By this point, exercise and eating healthy and non-negotiable part of the lifestyle. It is who they have become. So that's the first paragraph. So if you look at this, it's talking about those that on the flip side, that's where the answer is. Other clients get in and get the job done. Why did they get in and get the job done? That's because their sights are set. That's talking about goals. And they just plow ahead until mission accomplished. There's no part in this first paragraph by saying that even if you work hard, you won't get, tangible, you won't achieve your goals. So the answer is C. If you agree with me, type C in the chat box. If you don't agree with me, type in your own chosen answer and tell us the reason why you feel that is the answer. So we go to the second question. Question A there, so in the second paragraph, the writer uses Fiona Comfort's word to. Remember, we're saying that part C will always direct you to where to go. Part C will always direct you to where to go in the text. So it's saying here, Fiona Comfort's word. So look at the options. Illustrate, routine, reward, system, loop, outline. So I will, in my head, do a mental picture of routine, reward. You can underline it. Role of dopamine, prove that chemical transmitters in the brain are the ones responsible for motivation. So you have chemical transmitters there. Inform us that dopamine level is affected by your degree of motivation. Dopamine level, chemical transmitters. So let's go to the test. Remember I said second paragraph. Where are we going? If you know where we're going to look for the answer, type it in the comment section in the chat box. Second paragraph. So this is the second paragraph. It starts from the so. So what separates my clients who achieve their weight loss goals from those who do not? It's a question. What separates my clients who achieve their weight loss goals from those who do not? Is it a difference in brain chemistry? The answer is yes and no. There is a system in your brain that imparts your levels of motivation called the reward network, explains Fiona Comfort, which is a senior research fellow at the University of Sydney's Brain and Mind Center. Now, are you going to stop there because you have found Fiona Comfort? Yes or no? Are you going to stop reading there to get your answer? Or you're going to go ahead? And remember that it says in the second paragraph. And the second paragraph there, it's not yet exhausted. So I will go ahead and read because I can still find something about Dr. Comfort there. That involves two regions, the ventral striatum and part of the prefrontal cortex. Dr. Comfort says, full stop there. So there is a system in your brain that imparts your levels of motivation called the reward network, explains Fiona Comfort. So what was the writer referring to when he mentioned Fiona Comfort? Let's go to the options. So you see there in the option, who can tell me the answer? You know the answer already. Type it in the chat box or in the comment section. Is it A, is it B, is it C or D? All right. The answer is A. It's clearly stated there. So Fiona Comfort was talking about the routine reward system loop. So, and it's right there. Let's go back to it and check again to confirm. So explains Fiona Comfort. So he said there is a system in your brain that imparts your level called the reward network. One thing about this is you don't be looking out to get everything. So if you read further, it's still the second paragraph here, you will see, really importantly, influences our decisions on what's working for us and what's not. Dopamine, a chemical messenger, is the star quarterback in this reward network. In this reward, so what's reward is talking about the same reward network here. So that's what makes question option A the answer. I hope that is clear. If you agree with me that option A is the answer for question 8, please say A in the question, in the chat box or in the comment section. If you disagree, tell me your answer. So in part C, you should read. So you're not reading totally, but you're using what you have had in what you have seen in the option. Remember, we are using the QTA. We are using the QTA system of answering here. That means go to the question, come to the task, and pick your answer. So you have come to the question, you read the question, look at the options, and then go to the test. So the keyword that you find in the question will give you an idea of what to look out for in the test. So you are doing a combination of skimming and scanning. You are doing a combination, you are also trying to read silently because it is important for you to understand the test. All right, because I found a question there that is it advisable for us to read further? Yes. So read further because it's a paragraph. Unfortunately, this the arrangement of this workbook does not really break this down properly into paragraphs. I can tell you where the paragraph ends. All right, so let's go to the third question. Question 9. In the second paragraph, still talking about the second paragraph, the word D refers to, is it the brain? Is it the reward network? Is it levels of motivation or the brain chemistry? Let's go back to the second paragraph. I think I emphasized this when I was reading it. Okay, so still talking about the second paragraph. The word D. Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, please say yes. Thank you. All right, thank you. So the word D, is that a question? Is it D or that? Yeah, in the second paragraph, the word D referred to. So we start the D here. So let's look for the D that they're talking about here. So here you can skim, you can scan. Can you find it? Help me. All right, so usually the word that is being mentioned, that is being highlighted, will be in bold in the test. So what we have here in bold is that. Let me take a quick look at the other questions and see. So I want to honestly believe that this might be a typographical error, which, it's not which can happen. So, because usually in questions like this, the word that is being referred to would be in bold and underlined in the text. So the word and which is in bold here and underlined is that. All right. So if we look at this, there is a system in your brain that imparts your level of motivation called the reward network. Explains Fiona Kumfo. And he went for that. He said that involves two regions. That involves two regions. So I'm going to take that as the option there. So what does that refer to in the option? Is it talking about the brain system? So remember I said there is a system in your brain. So there's a system in the brain here that is called the reward system network. That involves two regions, the ventral striatum and part of the prefrontal cortex. Is what does this that means? Go to the option. So the word D is written here, but it's actually that, okay? Apologies for that. I'm not the composer of this question, but I believe this is that. What does that refer to? The brain, the reward network, level of motivation, the brain chemistry. So what's your answer? A, B, C, or D? You can drop it in the chat box or in the comment section. Thank you. Number 9, so just need to put 9A so we know which question you're answering. So the answer for me, who wants to know my answer? The answer for me is B, is the reward network. The answer is the reward network. I'll go back to the test again, okay? Is the reward network. Let's see. So it says that there is a system in your brain. It's the system in the brain that is talking about. What is the system in the brain called? The reward network. So that involves two regions. So the reward network involves two regions. Again, if you want to look at its brain, the brain does not have two regions like that. It's the system in the brain that has two regions. So the answer is B. If you agree with me, say 9B. Just put B. If you have an alternative option, put it there and tell us why you think so. Thank you. Now, let's go to question 10. Question 10. What is the main point that the writer wants to deliver by mentioning the study in the third paragraph? Again, I'm going to say part C, as much complex as it is be, but it always directs you to where to go. You do not just leave it stranded looking at throughout all the tests. So it's telling you here to go to what paragraph? Third paragraph. What's the main point that the writer wants to deliver by mentioning the study in the third paragraph? So there was a study mentioned in the third paragraph. So you're going to underline what the study, what study is the writer talking about, and what's the main point that the study is talking about. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to interpret the question to the best of my understanding so it can help me to get the right answer. So look at the options. Is the study talking about long-term goals that need bigger reward? Science has not been able to come up with ways to increase dopamine levels. Goals that are far in the future are unachievable. Perceptible outcome drive. Okay, well, I can't even master everything. I can't have everything in my head. So let me go to the third paragraph. So I'm going to give you, where does your third paragraph start from? Now, like I said, the write-up, maybe because it's already PDF and all that, is not structured properly into paragraph. But let's look at where we stopped the other time and just scan through until you get to where you're looking for. This dopamine boost is what encourages you to report the activity that got the reward. So you can get again, but there is a key that you do not get the reward, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What makes one person see healthy as achievable and they see it as okay. Dr. Vova says unfortunate question. That's still talking about second paragraph. Okay. For example, now we find studies. So I'm going to start scanning from here. But what we do know is that humans are bad at focusing on distant future and less tangible rewards shares. For example, studies have shown that given the choice between getting $10 right now and $100 next month, most of us will go for the instant gratification. That makes sense when you think of it in terms of making massive lifestyle changes. Partial weight loss seems ages away and might not happen. Whereas, okay, is that the study they're talking about? Has there any other study been mentioned? So that is actually our third paragraph, right? I'm trying to go down and see, is there any other study there? All right, so that's our third paragraph. So what is the study trying to say? We go back to the option again, right? So D, long-term goals need bigger rewards. Science has not been able to give up in many ways. Goals that are far perceptible outcomes drives a great motivation. Okay, so long-term goals need bigger rewards. Science has not been able. So like I said again, you would do the right or wrong each option. So look at it. Is A the answer? Is that part talking about long-term goals and all that? Yes, I understand that the paragraphs are not so clear in this, but in your own question paper, it's going to be clear because this is a PDF and all that, so it has adjusted itself. All right, apologies for that. So let's pick it up from here because we're looking at study. If you find any other place in the text that talk about study, then that's what drives you to where to go. The keyword from the question. So studies have shown that given the choice between getting $10 right now and next month, most of us will go for the instant gratification. That makes sense when you think of it in terms of making massive lifestyle changes. Maybe that seems ages away and might not happen. Whereas, remember, I said, if you are struggling to get an option, an answer, please go to the next question. Okay, go to the next question if you're struggling. You're probably better off with setting short-term rewards along the way to the bigger one rather than just focusing on the far off and hard to imagine pot of growth. Is this talking about the same study? So what is the answer? Is talking about long-term goals? So no. Question one, option A is not the answer. Long-term goals need bigger rewards. That's not what that study is talking about. Science has not been able to come up with ways. No, it didn't even say anything about dopamine. Goals that are far in the future are unachievable. Wasn't saying that. Perceptible outcomes drive a greater motivation. And if you can understand what that place says, if you go back here, it's saying that people will look for to rather go for instant gratification. Yes, and because that's the perceptible outcome, that is what motivates them. So that is why I'm picking option D. Picking option D, which is so that you can get the answer here. That makes sense when you think of it in terms of making massive lifestyle changes. So it's what is driving the people what is motivating them. So what motivates most people is perceptible outcome. That's why that is right. So if you agree with me, that's question, option D is the answer for question D. Put in the chat box or comment section and just say 10B. If you have alternative, you can say, put it there and tell me why you think. Now, question 11, what advice is the writer giving in the fourth paragraph? In the fourth paragraph, break your goals down, do not set long-term goals, stop your bad habits, do not set goals unless you're prepared. So let's go to the fourth paragraph. So this is the fourth paragraph. At the end of the day, in order to do any of that, you need to decide whether your goals is actually worth the effort. The complex relationship and how to remember, like, you need to read this part, you need to skim and scan through it so you'll be able to know what exactly the writer is talking about. You will only make the sacrifice if your goal is truly important to you. I believe you are scanning through, right? All right. So let's go back to the option. Apologies for that. Let's go back here. This is where we are. And that's because I zoomed. Sorry about this. I'm going to go back to where we left. So sorry, I'm just trying to scroll down to the question. It's a very big, long, the big booklets. I haven't gotten past. Oh, 5. Okay. Sorry, we're back here now. So the options is break your goals down, do not set long-term goals, stop your bad habits, do not set goals unless you're prepared. So what's the answer? Number 11. You want to go back to the test again because of that break in transmission. All right. So what is the writer advice of the writer there? Okay, we look at it in this sense. At the end of the day, in order to do any of that, you need to decide whether your goal is actually worth the effort. So if you read through the test, let's see where we can get the answer. There's a complex relationship between how meaningful your reward is and the amount of effort. You will only make sacrifice if your goal is truly important to you. It's actually talking about goals. There has to be a goal, actually. There has to be a goal. All right. Drop in your answer once you find it. Remember, in a real exam, don't waste too much time. If you're struggling with finding an answer, go to the next question. Take me, for example, why I do not usually have trouble being motivated. I had much rather clean the oven than starting my whatever that's due in 3 days. This is where intrinsic motivation can help. Intrinsic motivation is when you are driven to do something purely because you find it enjoyable. It does not matter if it's a pot of gold at the end. You are going to do it rather than out of obligation. Intrinsic, sure, people might make better, feel it being forced on you. Sure, it might get you started, but it will not keep you. People who are more motivated to work at a higher intensity and more consistent than that. So what is this talking about? You will only make sense if you're truly in that. Some people will be very motivated, some moderately motivated, and others. In addition, motivation can change depending on the person's situation. Is it the test we are, is it the paragraph we are talking about actually? I don't think so. Sorry. The fourth paragraph. This is the third paragraph. This is the fourth paragraph. They're probably better off with setting short-term rewards along the way to the big ones, rather than just focusing on the far off and add to imagined pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Maintaining goal-directed motivation behavior is hard. Instead, focus on creating habits that will help you along the way, suggests Dr. Comfort. If there is a way to harness habits rather than forcing ourselves to be goal-directed, that's undoubtedly going to be easier. So break it all down into small, manageable bit size. For example, if you're trying to lose weight, have your ducks in a row. So this is paragraph 4. Apologies for that. So let's go to the option. The answer not to waste time is B. Is D rather, 11D. So it's saying there that A, 11A, somebody said D, that's why it's in my head. A, break your goals down. So the answer to 11 is A, saying that you should break your goals down. That person that puts D is actually going into my head. That's why I said D. So the answer is A. I hope that is clear. If you have a contrary answer, put it down. If your answer is A, put it down. Thank you. So question 12. What idea is emphasized by the phrase, have your ducks in a row well? So this is more like an idiomatic expression there. So what does it mean in the context of the test? Does it mean get motivated, force yourself, organize your thoughts, be prepared? And say, have your ducks in a row well. That's a new thing I've learned as well myself today. Have your ducks in a row well. Have your ducks in a row well. So let's look for where that is in the test. Have your ducks in a row well. So it's right here. It says, so break it all down into small manageable bites. I didn't come back to start reading everything again. For example, if you are trying to lose weight, have your ducks in a row well in advance. Schedule in regular times, pre-book and pay for classes. Pre-pack workout gear and have it on hand if you are exercising after work. Do not go home first. Train yourself to operate on. What does have your ducks in a row well means here? He said, have your ducks in a row well in advance. It looks more like get yourself organized. So let's look at the options. Prof. Yeah. So get motivated, force yourself, organize your thought, be prepared. What do we think? I know somebody will say C because I said, oh, it looks organized. Now, remember that we said we're going to eliminate options and see which one best fits. That's what the instruction is. Get motivated. No. Force yourself. No. Organize your thoughts. Are we talking about thoughts? If you go back to that test, it wasn't talking about thoughts. Even though organized looks right, it wasn't talking about thoughts. Everything was talking about was about you preparing ahead. He said in advance. So what are the things you're doing? You are preparing in advance. What are the things you're doing as suggested here? Okay, scheduling regular time, pre-book, pay for classes, all these things, what do they mean? It's preparation. So remember, you might think you have the right answer, but try to wrong and right that option. Okay, organize your thoughts. It wasn't even talking about thought here. So pay attention to those little clues. So the answer is be prepared. 12 is what? D. So if your answer is D, put it in the chat or comment section. If you have alternative, put it there and tell me why. Question 13, in the 5th paragraph, the writer suggests that intrinsic motivation produces an outcome, which is, so understand the question. Don't just rush to getting the answer. Intrinsic motivation, what's your keyword there? Intrinsic motivation produces an outcome. What outcome? Achievable, durable, enjoyable, not forced on you. So let's go in the 5th paragraph. So we are going to the 5th paragraph. Travel with me to the 5th paragraph. So we finished the 4th paragraph here. So this is the 5th paragraph. At the end of the day, in order to do any of that, you need to decide whether your goal is actually what effort. There is a complex relationship. So we know when we are looking for intrinsic motivation. So to be honest, I will skip all that and just go what happens before intrinsic. I can find intrinsic here. So read a little bit ahead above it. Okay. Think of motivation as within that. Some people will be highly motivated, some moderately, others will find it really challenging. In addition, motivation can change depending on the person. That is partly the difference in the ways our brains work. Take me, for example. Why I do not usually have to be motivated to exercise. I had much rather clean the oven than start statistics assignment that is due in 3 days. This is where intrinsic, because internal motivation can help. Intrinsic motivation is when you are driven to do something purely because you find it enjoyable. Somebody got the answer before me, right? Okay, what's the answer for number 13? Intrinsic motivation is when you are driven to do something purely because you find it enjoyable. It does not matter if it is a pot of gold at the end. You are choosing it to do it rather than out of obligation. What is our answer there? Number 3, number 13. If you know it, drop it in the comment section now. So everyone say C. Yeah, enjoyable. It is C. It's well rightly stated. So the answer there is C. 13 is C. If your answer is C, drop it in the chat box or in the comment section. Thank you. If you have alternative answer, drop it as well and tell me why you think I am wrong. In the final paragraph, within that refers to, let's look for where we can find within that. It says up there that in the final paragraph. Let's go. So this is the final paragraph and it's also the 5th paragraph. I hope you understand. It's the final paragraph and it's also the 5th paragraph. So don't be looking for the final paragraph. Think of motivation as a spectrum. Within that, some people will be highly motivated, some moderately, and others will find it really challenging. Within what? Within that. You know, I went ahead to read. So think of motivation as a spectrum. Within that, what? What is this within that talking about? So let's look at the options. Number 14. Is it referring challenges, motivation, people, or spectrum? Tell me your answer in the chat box or in the comment section. It should be quick. 14, just say 14, A, B, C, or D. I'll go back to the test again. Within that, so when we have something like this, try to read the sentence that is before it, okay? Read one or two sentences before the word in bold or underlined. That will give you an idea of what they're talking about. So there's a complex relationship between how meaningful your reward is and the amount of effort you have to achieve it. You will only make the sacrifices if your goal is really important to you. Think of motivation as a spectrum within that. So what are we talking about? I find my answer. What is your answer? 14, A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. Yeah, it is D, 14D. That's very right. So 14B is talking about it as a spectrum. If you agree with me that D is the answer for question 14, put it in the chat box or in the comment section. If you agree, write your own answer and tell us why. All right, so that is question 7 to 14. The same thing you did for test A, you're going to apply same for test 2, test 1 rather. So you're going to apply it for test 2. So it goes the same way. So I would advise, my favorite strategy to use is QTA. Remember, if you were in our class, I've explained the QTA. So go to question, read the test, and then look for the answer, QTA. So you might want to apply this, all right? This is what I'm going to be dropping the curtain here in the OET revision session at the Synergy International Network. If you want to enroll with us, if you want to practice, you're interested in writing OET, join us, enroll, go to www.synergynos.co.uk, or you can just contact the WhatsApp number there or the email address in the flyer. Thank you so much till we meet again. If you need more questions, we have a big question bank, large question bank for you to practice and practice and practice. Again, at Synergy International Network, we will hold your hand for you to achieve your desired score. Thank you. Bye for now.